The Republic of Indonesia is a vast archipelagic nation located in Southeast Asia, made up of over 17,000 islands. Home to around 273 million people, it is the world's fourth most populous country and the 14th largest by land area. Due to both of these factors, Indonesia finds itself incredibly reliant on the almost 6 million trucks present in the nation, as around 90% of all imports and exports touch a domestic truck at some point in the shipping process. Estimated to have around 450,000 companies, which employ somewhere in the ballpark of 5 million drivers, Indonesian truckers are no stranger to weather hazards, congested traffic, and tight deadlines. Welcome to the second episode of Trucking World, Indonesia. As of 2023, Indonesia lays claim to the 16th largest road network in the world, with a total length of 544,474 kilometers, only 52% of which is made up of paved roads. The remaining 48% are either composed of dirt, which easily becomes mud during the rainier seasons, or gravel. Unfortunately, the majority of this network, even including paved roads, is in poor condition, and many drivers wishing to reduce the time to their destination are forced to use Indonesia's toll road system. Accounting for only 0.45% of all roads, these 57 highway routes are the best maintained in the country, and are either owned by the state or various private companies. Alternative roads that truckers can use include the country's national routes, a system of intercity roads which are intended to connect all major population centers in the country. Though their quality is somewhat lacking when compared to the toll roads, and traffic congestion can cause major delays around urban centers, these routes are arguably the most important of all Indonesian roads when it comes to the transport of goods. Ferries also play an essential role in Indonesia's road network, serving as one of the only ways for both trucks and passenger vehicles to get to other islands. Though speed limits are quite variable in reality, in theory trucks are limited to 50 km an hour on city roads, 60 km an hour on city highways, 80 km an hour outside of cities, and 30 to 40 km an hour on certain rural roads or mountain passes. Due to a general lack of enforcement in many areas, for the most part these speed limits are treated only as a suggestion, unless in the presence of an authority. Be it due to the frequency of ferry trips or the tightness of many rural and city roads, cab-over-style trucks are king in Indonesia, most of which come from Japanese manufacturers, as both Japan and Indonesia drive on the left-hand side of the road. Brands such as Hino, Isuzu, Mitsubishi Fuso, and UD are the most popular in the country, though you can see some European brands like Scania, Volvo, Mercedes-Benz, DAF, and MAN on occasion. Smaller rigid trucks are popular for much of Indonesia's transport, as they're easier to navigate around narrow streets, though the classic tractor-trailer setup is also a mainstay. 70% of all freight in Indonesia is handled by truck, serving the main exporting economic sectors of agriculture, seafood, oil, mining, and manufacturing. As a country with a total GDP of $1.18 trillion and growing rapidly, Indonesian truck drivers are kept busy transporting products to seaports, which are then exported to countries such as China, the United States, Japan, Singapore, and India. Considering the geographic reality of an archipelagic nation, rail isn't as viable of an option in Indonesia as it is in many areas of the world, offloading the work onto truck drivers and oceanic transport. The average salary for an Indonesian truck driver can vary quite a bit based on the company worked for and truck ownership status. But on average, an Indonesian truck driver will make somewhere between 168 million to 275 million rupiah per year, which is roughly 11,000 to 18,000 US dollars. According to Indonesian labor law, truck drivers are allowed to work a maximum of 8 hours a day, with a total of 40 hours per week. However, due to the lack of a regulatory body, and considering how few hours are legally permitted, most, if not all truck drivers go over this 8-hour limit, and it's reported that many work 12 to 15 hours per day, and around 70 to 80 hours per week. Though again, this really does depend on the individual and the circumstances of their cargo. Heavy goods vehicles are limited to a maximum length of 23 meters and a maximum weight of 55 metric tons, though overloading is a common issue in the country and leads to many unfortunate accidents on the road. Some of the greatest challenges that Indonesian truck drivers face have to do with the weather and the traffic. As a Southeast Asian country, landslides are common here and can take out whole roads, especially those which aren't paved. In addition, these heavy rains turn dirt roads into mud pits, which can be difficult to navigate and easy to become stuck in. Even if a driver finds themselves on a paved road, traffic is one of the main hang-ups to the Indonesian trucking system. Over the course of the last few decades, the number of cars on Indonesian streets has increased dramatically, and transit authorities haven't been able to keep up with the rapid influx. In 2004, there were 30 million cars in Indonesia, and only 12 years later, in 2016, that figure has increased to around 125 million. Not only a headache for drivers, this traffic has led to ripple effects throughout the Indonesian economy, as truck drivers are prevented from making deliveries in a timely manner. In an attempt to address these challenges, the Indonesian government has implemented various regulations to improve road safety and working conditions for truck drivers, though compliance and enforcement of these rules is still lackluster. Despite all the challenges and risks which Indonesian truck drivers face, their contribution to the economy cannot be overstated, and they deserve both recognition and support for their vital role in the country's continued development. Hopefully, by improving working conditions and safety standards for truck drivers, Indonesia can ensure the sustainability and growth of its logistics and transportation industry well into the future. But I suppose only time will tell. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more trucking content. Let me know what country you'd like to see covered next, and feel free to check out this channel's Discord linked in the description below. Thanks again, and goodbye.